Hi and welcome everyone. My name is Dominique and this is my podcast. Hugs, Handshakes, Habibi. In this podcast I will speak about my life in the Middle East. I will tell you some fun stories I experienced here, and also I want to give you some hints what you need to see if you visit this amazing region. I hope that you enjoy listening as much as I enjoyed recording, and yalla, let's start!
Hi and welcome back everyone, this is Hugs, Handshakes, Habibi. I'm Dominique, I'm your host, and today's episode is titled Fast Lanes and Flashing Lights Driving in Dubai. And in this episode, I will answer a couple of questions I received in the last few weeks about how it is to drive in Dubai. Maybe from tourists or from potential people who want to move to the Middle East. And I want to cover some of those, mainly about driving culture. Also, we'll take a look on the traffic rules and the famous speeding cameras. And I will also at the end covering a bit of buying and insuring and operating a car in Dubai. First, let me speak about driving culture and road etiquette. So you have to keep in mind it's the Middle East. So you have a mix on the streets between 70 and 700 horsepower. You have the Lamborghinis on the street, you have the Ferraris on the street. You see a lot of SUVs like the Nissan Petrol, the Chevy Suburban, and the Tahoe. You see a lot of pickup trucks like the Silverado or the GMC Sierra. Or even Jeep has some pickups like the Gladiator. You have the Ford F-150 as Raptor. You have the Ranger Raptor. You have a lot of saloon cars, a lot of convertibles, also smaller cars on the roads there, and you have a lot of taxi drivers. And even more interesting, you have a lot of delivery guys. So these delivery guys are the backbone of the communities there. You can get everything delivered from food through groceries, whatever is needed, they deliver it. And they have a pretty interesting driving style. So they come from the left, from the right. They just sneak between the cars and take the exit. So their driving behavior is, if you're not used to it, pretty dangerous, especially for them, because they are on small motorbikes and you have to keep your eyes open all the time, especially in the evening when the food deliveries are on the peak. They just do their job, but they overdo sometimes, and it's pretty dangerous in some situation when they just sneak between two big SUVs just to cut a lane or something. It's not legal, but nevertheless, so these guys just make some money for the families at home. I try my best to keep eyes open and give them a bit of extra space. Not everyone is doing that, unfortunately, but yeah, when you are aware, this is doable. Also, when it comes to driving styles, so I spoke about the delivery drivers already. You have a mix of nationalities. So last thing I heard was 120 plus nationalities that are currently in Dubai, and they all bring their different driving habits from their home countries for sure. You have the American people, you have the Europe people, you have a lot of Asian people around, and you have let's call them Arab people. I'm not sure if this is the accurate name for those, but I speak about all the countries that are in the Middle East region, speaking about Egypt, speaking about those countries, and they come with everyone comes with their own driving style, and as they know it from their home countries. So some countries are a bit more freestyle than others, and this is everything. So you see, you have the supercars, the SUVs, and the different nationalities, and everyone is sharing the same road. So you need to be careful. You need to keep your eyes open, but when you got used to it, it's doable. And the Emirates did a lot for road safety in the last couple of years, and they reduced the amount of people that are seriously injured on the streets in an enormous way. So they do a lot of stuff, but it's also depending on the people. It's not only the government who can do something, it's also the people. And there are a lot of people just driving and texting, which is illegal, or they have the kids jumping around in the back seat. without a seatbelt and stuff like that. This is also not legal, but they do it. They are distracted, and you need to be a looking ahead driver, and then everything is good. Also, there are some people that are heavily into tailgating and flashing headlights. So since I'm driving in Dubai, when I go to a Europe country and someone's flashing the headlights, especially in Germany, if you block the left lane road on a highway with only 200 kilometers per hour, then you see sometimes the headlights flashing. But this is nothing that bother me since I'm driving in Dubai. It's happening once in a while. There are a couple of drivers, but again, there are strict rules meanwhile, and the dangerous driving, tailgating, and stuff like that is heavily fined. You pay a lot of money for that. You get black points, which leads to suspended driver license as a point, and they even impound cars. I cover that a bit later. So all of them are on the same road. They share the same streets. And this is something you need to be aware. And if you are sorted with that, if you're aware of that, if you're used to it, it's easy to drive there. So to wrap this up, it's important that everyone stays in his own lane, and I mean that literally and also figuratively. So this is the most important part, and as long as everyone takes care about that, it's working. Speaking about traffic rules and the famous speeding cameras, so the fun thing in most of the Emirates, you get 20 kilometers per hour buffer on most roads. So if you see a speed sign in Dubai stating 120, you can go up to 140. But if you do that in Abu Dhabi, you get fined because Abu Dhabi don't have this buffer. In exchange for that, they allow you to drive 140, but the cameras in Abu Dhabi are set on the speed, and in Dubai you have this 20 kilometers per hour grace period or grace amount that you can overshoot without getting fined. But after that, it's getting also pretty good, pretty expensive. Let's say it like that. And we have the speed cameras everywhere, and sometimes you go straight street and you see them every 500, 600 meters, you see the speed cameras. Meanwhile, we get now pretty modern cameras that not only doing the speed. There was an announcement by Dubai, I'm not sure if it was Dubai Municipal or if it was, I think it was Dubai Police. We get now AI-driven cameras, and these cameras are amazing. So not that they just checking the speed and taking pictures if you're speeding, they also check if you violate restricted areas on the road. So if you have a ramp to exit the highway, you have usually that strip that is banned for use. And some people think their time is more valuable than all other times, so they just pass the queue and they try to sneak up in front, and then they violate this restricted areas. And the cameras now also catch this and find this. As well, there are now cameras installed that check the sound of the car. So you are allowed to do a lot of modification, but when it comes to the sound of the exhaust system, for example, there are some rules that apply for just to safeguard the residential areas. And those new cameras, they can identify what car is making noise and how much noise it is, and if it is too much, and then they take a picture, they bring the evidence, and then you get fined as well. And last but not least, I mentioned that people are using the mobile while driving, which is not allowed. And the new generation of cameras is also able to go through tinted windows. So we are allowed to tint the windows for 50%, not the front window, but the side windows up to 50. And if the car is registered, I learned you can even do darker tints, and then you can't see what's happening in the car. And the new camera systems can spot through those tinted windows and can check if the mobile is in your hand, and then you get fined as well. So as mentioned, the UAE do a lot of effort to reduce the number of traffic accidents, of heavy injuries, of fatals, and they do that in a pretty good manner. So I was ticketed in Dubai, I think twice. Once was the first was for improper lane change. And yeah, that was absolutely right. I saw a parking sign and maybe I made a move over 5 lines to hit this parking spot, and maybe I forgot the indicator. So it's possible that was a accurate one. And the second one was for speeding. I think I was 3 kilometers per hour above. I think it's also a fair thing. I paid both of them, and I'm good with that. But yeah, so maybe I need to mention that if you do, for example, in Abu Dhabi, driving too slow, you will also get fined. There's some areas in Dubai, I think they do the same. So if you go below a certain speed that's announced that on the street side, then you get fined as well. There are also other fines for parking violations, for example, for dangerous driving, where they even impound your car. Driving under influence is heavily fined. We have a zero tolerance policy in that part. So there's a lot of fines just to make sure that it's working. And in the worst case, they suspend your driver license. They impound your car for up to 60 days. I saw in the fine catalog. So there's a lot of stuff what they do, and they enforce it regardless if this is rental or if it's yours or if it's a friend's car. The car is gone if the fine for what you do is the impoundment of the car. So covering the last part, speaking about how to buy a car in Dubai. So first of all, we have a lot of options, and you can go from very affordable to incredible expensive. If you go down Sheikh Zayed Road, you see all the car dealers with McLaren, with Ferrari, with a Lamborghini. But speaking about something more affordable, you can get pre-owned cars with agency dealer. You can get the cars also in other retailers, and you need to check what you need. The most important part is when you buy a new car or when you buy a used car, you get the vehicle identifying number. And if you go with that vehicle identifying number to the ministry website, you can check if this vehicle was involved in an accident. So if you buy a used car, this is the first thing to check if this car maybe had an accident and if the car is maybe even a total write-off that was just refurbished. With that, just need to mention if you have an accident before anyone will repair your car, you need to file a police report. So even if you hit your own property, someone told me, some of my colleagues, he had an accident by parking in his own garage. He scratched his car and he needed a police report for this thing before the agency repaired his car and redid the paint on the door. So this is useful. And yeah, so when you make the decision, you have to make a wise decision because you have to keep in mind that some brands depreciate faster in value than other brands. You have to decide if you want to go for a loan option or if you buy a car with cash. And all of that is important there. But as I see, we just covered the 13 minutes here. So I think I thought that I get more in this episode than I actually did. So let's cover the buying a car in Dubai part at a later with the next episode at a later point. I have some experience to share. I bought my first car in Dubai and it was an amazing story. But I don't want to rush through it. I just want to make sure that you know how this works, also the insurance part, how the insurance part is working. And I want to make sure that you have everything on hand. So let's keep it with that. Next episode, we speak about buying a car and insure a car and operate a car in Dubai. Until then, stay safe, enjoy the week, and see you next time.